Welcome back to EAK TV. I'm delighted to have one of our colleagues, Christian, join us today. Christian, how are you enjoying Delta Summit?
Yeah, really enjoying it. It's been a fantastic day. There's so much to be done here. There's so much work to be done in Malta. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's popping off here, right? Like, we've been here 2 days, and you can see the energy, you can see the buzz. It's fantastic to be part of, because you really feel that you're at the cutting edge. You know, you're at the forefront of something that's really developing into being a world-renowned leader in blockchain. Yeah, it's amazing just to see how far the space has come to, and really kind of gauging where it's going to go. You know, it's a very exciting time.
So what would you say has been the most exciting part of Delta Summit so far? What have your experiences been in Malta?
I think just being able to speak to the people who are actually building the regulatory framework, the first regulatory framework in the whole world. You know, Malta put up its hand and said, we're going to be the ones that really want to drive this forward for the whole world. And it has a fantastic opportunity to do that because of the situation that it finds itself in. You know, it's an independent country within the EU, meaning that it can sell all of its services to the other members of the EU. It has the amazing capability of, you know, having a population that speaks fantastic English. And yeah, it's had this experience of the gaming industry, and it's really using that to its advantage for what it wants to build for the blockchain industry.
And I guess obviously the whole world is watching Malta right now to see, you know, obviously they've just passed this new framework to see how it hopefully succeeds. Just out of interest, what other countries do you think could be following Malta?
Well, I think you know, Malta put up its hand as, you know, as a relatively small country, and I think it's those jurisdictions that are really going to drive the space forward. I mean, the thing about the smaller jurisdictions, which are so attractive to blockchain companies, are that you can really get into the high levels of government like quite quickly, because they're going to listen to you. In the larger countries, in the larger jurisdictions, there's so much more red tape that you have to climb through, and you know, and really, you know, to talk to the people who are in control and who are going to make the decisions, it's much more difficult to do that. So, you know, I see the smaller countries in the Baltics maybe taking advantage of the situation they find themselves in. Also maybe Gibraltar, Jersey too. But I mean, once again, they also, I don't want to say the word suffer, but they're also hindered by the fact that they have a closer relationship with the UK, which Malta doesn't. You know, Malta's independent. It has that ability to really create those regulations that other people are going to look to. So, yeah, I think it's the smaller countries really that are going to take the lead overall.
So, how did you get involved in the blockchain space?
Not the usual way, actually. So it was whilst I was studying for my master's, which was in history, and I was always fascinated by the past, and you know, and cultures, and what you know, what we can learn from the past, and that's when I came across blockchain for the first time, and studying the past made me even more fascinated about the future. So it was this kind of light bulb moment where it was like, you know, the future is kind of happening in front of our eyes. And so that's what really drew me to the ideas that blockchain is trying to achieve, really. You know, as a paradigm shift in so many different business practices, I mean, we're yet to see all of the ones that it's going to be capable of changing. So, yeah, it was a strange one. It wasn't really linked to technology or anything. It was just linked to my own interests in the past, which forced me to look to the future.
So, where do you see the space going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, straight off the bat, you can see from today that it's going to professionalize very quickly. I mean, it's already, you know, a professional space in that sense, but you know, 5 years ago it wasn't. So we're going to see much more development in that sphere of things, and that itself is going to drive forward people to want to get involved in it. I think when companies are able to actively use blockchains for their own benefit, rather than, you know, it being lauded for the change of the future, when they're actually going to start using that in their day-to-day business practices, that's really where we're going to see the true explosion in shifting practices. So professionalization, and ultimately we're going to see more people using it on a day-to-day basis, and they're not even going to know they're using it, right? People are going to be actively involved or utilizing blockchain applications without ever having bought any crypto or being aware of the blockchain. So those changes are coming, but 10 years is so far to see in the space. It's developed so much in the last 3 to 4, so it's there are so many possibilities, but I think professionalization is the thing that I'd say the most.
And which industries would you say are ripe for blockchain disruption, for blockchain startups? Do you think we can actually see changing our day-to-day lives within the next 12 to 24 months?
I think one of the things that's been spoken, there are two really that I see as some of the most pertinent examples of industries which are going to be disrupted. The first one, which we've seen a lot of here in Malta, is gaming. That is something that is going to see, online gaming, that's going to see the implementation of blockchain probably quite early. And second, I'd say, is supply chains. I know it's quite a go-to when everyone talks about supply chains, but and there are many issues associated with that. You only trust the source of data, the person who scans the data onto the supply chain. Obviously, that's something that we have to reckon with. But we're going to be seeing trials for businesses using blockchain in the supply chain, I think, over the next 24 months, for sure.
And for somebody that wants to get into the blockchain space, either working or maybe starting their own blockchain startup, what advice would you give to them?
Just do it. The space is growing so fast, and it requires all sorts of professionals. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a coder to get into the space. The space needs PR professionals, marketing professionals, lawyers, writers. It's endless. And if this is really going to be the space that it is telling us that it's going to be, it's going to require all sorts of individuals. So, don't be scared about getting into the space. Just read as much as you can. Clue yourself up, learn, don't be afraid to ask questions, and just dive head on in, and really try and seize the opportunity that we're living through.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that's EAK TV. Thank you, Christian. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the summit.